Chapter 35, By the Sea. Coyote finds himself playing tour guide again. Kyrene asks lots of questions, but she's so cute and perky, Coyote cannot help but humor her. What kind of carriage are we riding in? And why are there no horses?
It's called a truck. It doesn't need horses to move. It runs on gasoline, on fuel.
Kyrene nods as if she understands. But you do still have horses, right?
Of course.
So why would you need a chariot such as this? Kyrene looks back over her shoulder and notices a cloud of black pollution emitting from the rear. This one seems to be on fire. It causes a lot of smoke.
Possibly hasn't had an emission test in the last 20 years. Also, could be running low on oil.
Huh?
Coyote sighs. Never mind.
They drive past some fields. Look, cows! Can we stop and pet them? She asks in earnest.
No.
Kyrene pouts. Why not? Coyote is at a loss.
It's just not the kind of thing that people do.
But we're not people, Bacchus interjects.
We're gods.
Coyote hits the brakes.
You want to pet the cows?
Kyrene nods, up and down rapidly.
Fine. Do what you gotta do. Just don't take too long. And don't be surprised if a bull charges you.
Kyrene dashes to the fence. It is wired off, but she manages to squeeze through. Bacchus leans on the fence and watches her run to the bovine-filled field. Coyote soon joins him.
What exactly is her story? Coyote asks.
She's a nymph. She's in love with nature, Bacchus replies.
And that's not all. She's also in love with Apollo.
This brings a pang of guilt to Coyote. He thinks about how he deceived Apollo and led him to a near certain death. Now he hunts him again with the same thought in mind. But this Kyrene creature is different. She's so innocent and sexual at the same time. She must see the same in Apollo. However, Coyote has a duty to exercise. The payment offered bought his morality, such that it was, and that reward would change his life. Soon, the Pomo and other neighboring tribes would follow the old ways. Coyote would have the power to make that possible. Bear, eagle, and crow would return as guiding spirits, and the world would again be in perfect balance. Each Native American nation would become self-sufficient again, and he would be regarded as the hero he once was. Kyrene strokes the cows in the meadow. She discovers a docile young bull and climbs upon his back. The bull walks slowly, careful not to jostle her from her perch. She waves and giggles at Bacchus and Coyote. Bacchus waves back.
She has a way about her, he tells Coyote. I wish she felt the same about me as she does Apollo. Do I detect a hint of jealousy?
Coyote hoped so. Perhaps Bacchus would be of use in Apollo's ultimate demise.
Oh, there's a lot to be jealous of with Apollo. He looks absolutely perfect. Not like me.
Bacchus pats his stomach.
He has scores of goddesses, nymphs, pixies, sprites, and mortals who absolutely adore him. He excelled, in fighting and archery. His music is second to none. And damn if he isn't also the god of light. So he's basically Mr. Perfect. What an arse,
Coyote summarizes.
Yes, but he's my arse.
What about you? You do pretty well with the goddesses, don't you? Coyote asks. Bacchus reflects.
I'm not exactly a major deity, he admits. I do make the finest wine in any realm, much better than that of Dionysus. I do okay.
Coyote is planting seeds.
You ever wish you were the focus of attention? I'm sure Apollo must cast a long shadow.
Bacchus shakes his head sadly.
Envy is like a wolf longing to be fed, Coyote offers.
Bacchus gets defensive.
I'm not envious exactly. I just like a little more recognition.
When we find Apollo, you shall get the credit. Then everyone will admire you, will they not? Or will they just relish in Apollo's return? Bacchus does not answer.
Come then, Coyote says. Let's get your friend.
Bacchus and Coyote are finally able to lure Kyrene back through the fence. They take their places back in the truck. Coyote is magically able to start the engine on the first try. They pull back onto the road. Coyote scrunches his nose.
What's that smell?
Kyrene looks at her bare feet. Probably me. I stepped in cow droppings. Pier 39 of the San Francisco Bay was once home to over 1,700 sea lions. Though that number has dwindled considerably, it remains a tourist attraction of sort. The water temperature varies from chilly to very cold, so people do not actually swim with them in this climate, save for the random happenstance of drunken Swedes. The male sea lions can grow to be well over 800 pounds. While not usually aggressive, they are rather powerful creatures. It is also illegal to feed them. Still, camera hounds from all over the world swarm the Bay Area to view these magnificent creatures. Tonight, a shirtless man does swim with them. He does not fear them, nor do they fear him. In fact, they are perfectly at home with one another. The man swims alongside the males. He knows better than to challenge their claims to females. Besides, he has no such interest. He has developed a taste for mortal women. Something so exciting exists between their legs. This man is but half a man. His head, torso, and muscular arms are human. However, from the waist down is a long scaly tail. He is a merman. He is Triton. And being in the water with these sea beasts is the happiest he has felt since his arrival on Earth. The bay is full of litter, cans and plastic and bottles and other refuse. The garbage floats or is sunk to the ocean floor. Triton takes it upon himself to clean. No sea creature should be forced to cope with the pollution of mortals. Triton gathers the floating pieces of plastic and paper, then swims to the shoreline and hurls the trash onto the nearby streets and sidewalks. He dives deep, and even in the pitch darkness he sees perfectly. Mountains of broken glass and intact bottles lie on the subaquatic terrain. It would take him years to clean this. Dejected, Triton surfaces for air and is hit square in the forehead by an empty bottle of cheap wine. Triton becomes livid. He sinks beneath the waterline for a few minutes and then begins flapping his powerful tail in fury. He literally leaps from the water and onto the street above, landing not on a tail, but legs. The litterer is stunned by the sight of a naked man flying out of the water. She is very frightened, but unable to scream. Quickly, Triton grabs her and drags her to the water's edge.
Somewhere in this sea, there's a glass bottle that belongs to you. I suggest finding it and disposing of it properly.
The woman stammers. But how?
By going underwater, of course.
Triton releases his grasp on the woman.
You can go in yourself, or I can help move you along.
Triton reaches behind and picks up his three-pronged trident. Timidly, the woman puts her foot in the water. It envelops her sandal, and the water is frigid against her ankle. I can't do this, she sobs. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have thrown it in. I wasn't thinking.
You only feel this way because you were caught, Triton chastises. Here, allow me to help.
He pushes her into the bay. The woman treads water until Triton dives in after her. Once he's in the sea, his tail appears.
Let's go down and look for your bottle.
The woman struggles, but Triton forces her down 15 feet to the bottom of the shallow bay. Triton can speak underwater, but naturally, she cannot reply.
Do you see it?
He asks rhetorically. The woman shakes her head. She can see nothing.
We're staying down here until you find it.
The woman is running out of air. She struggles and succeeds in freeing herself from the sea god's grasp. She kicks quickly towards the surface and is almost there. Triton has been toying with her. He holds her ankle. She can see the surface, but will never reach it. She thrashes, but Triton holds her firmly in his right hand. In his left, he holds the bottle she threw. The woman loses consciousness, and he drags her back to the ocean floor and buries her beneath a pile of garbage. Satisfied with his achievement for the ecological movement, he swims back to the shore. He stands naked below the streetlights, although at this time of night there will be no one to see him. He slowly dresses. First he puts on jeans, followed by his sandals. Finally, he pulls on a sweatshirt and flips the hood up. This is an amazing bridge, Kyrene exclaims as they cross the Golden Gate.
That it is,
Coyote answers. Kyrene's enthusiasm is wearing a bit thin. Look how tall it is. Do you know how big it is?
No.
Kyrene asks several questions without taking a break. Are we going to that big city in the distance? Is Apollo there? How will we find him? How? Coyote sighs.
I have an idea. It's a game.
Do you like games? Yes. How did you know?
Just a hunch. It's called the Quiet Game.
Kyrene is excited. How do we play? Coyote really hopes this works.
Well, we all stay really quiet, and the first one to make a noise loses. You ready?
Kyrene nods. She seals her lips and mimics locking them and throwing away the key. They drive in the joyous sound of silence for several miles. Then, just as Coyote is finally getting comfortable, Bacchus farts. Kyrene bounces up and down. Coyote, we win! We win!
Actually, I think we all lose,
Coyote gripes.
Sorry about that, Bacchus says. Must have been that spicy food at the winery. Or something crawled inside you and died. I mean, the windows are fogging up.
Coyote and Bacchus roll down the old-fashioned crank windows while Kyrene holds her breath. The truck finally airs out.
Try not to do that again, Coyote warns.
They drive a little further before Coyote pulls over by the water's edge.
This is where we get out.
Coyote leads Bacchus and Kyrene to the docks. There, the hooded figure stands, almost as if he's been waiting. Coyote, you've been away for far too long. Have you accomplished your task?
Not as of yet,
Coyote answers. The hooded figure peers past Coyote, and for the first time, he realizes they are not alone, and he recognizes Bacchus and Kyrene immediately. Why have you brought them here?
They seek Apollo as well.
Kyrene approaches the hooded figure. Do you know where we can find Apollo? We'd be most grateful for any help. Because of her short stature, Kyrene can see under the hood. Triton! She shrieks. What are you doing here? Bacchus! It's Triton! He's going to help us find our friend. Bacchus isn't so sure.
Triton, you were never exactly a friend to Apollo. What makes you want to find him now?
Triton pulls the hood down. No sense in masking his true identity any longer.
My father sent me here to find Apollo, he explains. As gods on earth, we are all friends now.
Coyote knows this not to be true, but he lets it slide. It doesn't really concern him, but still, he smirks.
Something funny, shaman?
Triton demands of Coyote.
To the contrary. I was just wondering about your cloak and dagger persona. I'm pretty sure no one from here would have recognized you. Merely a precaution.
Bacchus and Kyrene, you should know that if a god dies on this new earth, he or she stays dead. There is no coming back from death here. I would advise you both to return to the safety of your realms. We're not going anywhere without Apollo, Kyrene exclaims. Bacchus tries to soothe her, but his previous conversation with Coyote still plays in his mind.
Perhaps Triton is correct. We're not warriors. If Apollo is in danger, then we may be as well. Triton, can you prepare a portal for us? I fear we will be of little help.
We will absolutely be able to help. Anything that is needed.
The most important thing, Triton explains, is keeping you all alive. I shouldn't tell you this, but there is a great demon that feeds on the souls of fallen gods.
This concerns Bacchus even more. He assumed they would simply find Apollo and return to the safety of Heaven's Hotel Lounge.
Listen, Kyrene, I want to find Apollo as much as you do, but I don't want to die in the process.
Kyrene nearly explodes. We're not going to die. We shall find Apollo. He'd do it for us. She says this as though she believes it to be true.
My best advice to you, Triton says, is to stay somewhere safe. Do not put yourself in harm's way. Let Coyote and myself handle the dangerous work.
No, Kyrene says adamantly. Bacchus and I shall accompany you wherever you go. It is our friend we are concerned with. Bacchus shrugs. In for a penny, in for a pound.
Yes, that is what Kyrene and I shall do. Tell me, though, can humans kill gods in this realm?
Triton explains the best he can.
They can. And given the opportunity, they will. Our innate powers are still intact. I can swim.
Apollo can play music, and Kyrene can still control animals, she interrupts. Perhaps. But Bacchus, I am thirsty. Can you create a bottle of wine from thin air? Bacchus nods. Of course he can. However, he waves his hand and nothing happens. He concentrates and the result is the same. Absolutely nothing appears.
What is wrong? I have performed this parlor trick many thousands of times.
Not on this new earth. You are limited to your basic qualities. You, I suspect, can make and drink wine. But neither you nor Kyrene will be of use in fighting, were that to become necessary. Why would that become necessary? Kyrene asks in earnest. Triton comes up with the best answer he can. Because there are others here who wish all gods harm. Earth is a very different place than we remember it. We are no longer worshipped. We are despised. Something to be feared. Something to destroy.